they are going to start taking massive damage, and they might not be able to stick around. However, we do see another Colossi over here doing nothing. If that Colossi was brought over, that could deal massive damage. However, this expansion for Socke has done nothing yet. He only just laid it down. We do now see 2 Colossi and 2 tanks. So AoE damage is about even, and just mass Marauder at the moment, not even trying to deal with those Zealots with Marines, but I guess Marauders. But we do see this one Viking putting on the pressure, and a constant EMP with only 1 Ghost, which is keeping the Protoss' shields on very, very low health. We do see some Marauders stimming in, but not doing particularly well. That confrontation did not gain any advantage. Not exactly sure why he accidentally attacked that refinery. I think that might have been an accident. However, this base will go down unless he lifts it up or repairs it. Now, we do see a small confrontation happening here, trying to eke whatever he can. However, this tank is slightly too forward and will be sniped by that Colossi. However, we do see 3 tanks which will be brought over, and either sieged or unsieged will do massive damage against this army, because all of it is armoured, and siege tanks do a lot of damage versus armoured targets even when unsieged. Single target damage of a siege tank to armoured targets is triple that of a single target damage of a siege tank. However, unsieged siege tanks do not deal splash damage, so that is the one disadvantage. The little one trying to irk whatever minerals he can out of those 2 bunkers because he now has the defensive advantage with these 3 tanks and doesn't need those bunkers anymore. Now, that was quite a good attack by Socke, and he did manage to whittle down the amount of workers being mined for the little one, so that was quite interesting. He is keeping a constant supply of Phoenixes up. Not exactly sure why, but I guess it's just really good scouting information. Socke is now going for the gold, so that will give him a huge mineral advantage, which he will probably use just to get a lot more Zealots out on the field for more cannon fodder. And if he hasn't got charge, he does have charge. This will allow him to close the distance on the tanks, because chargelets versus tanks is not a good combo. Because personally, I'm going to charge into your army, you're going to shoot me, and you're going to kill your own army. And given Zealots' massive amounts of HP, I think this is quite a good counter to tanks charge lots, because it does allow you to hurt their army, and siege tanks will, unless target fired, focus on the closest thing to them. Now, 3 Phoenixes are out. That amount of Phoenixes will be able to put quite a large amount of pressure worker wise. He will be able to pick up workers and whatever else, but not much he can do with 3. And well, actually, he could do quite a lot, given that there's only 2 units out on the field that can attack him, being 2 ghosts. So if those 2 ghosts were to die, we don't actually see any Marines out on the field for the little ones. So that could be quite effective. We do, however, see a Raven. Ravens can do auto turrets and point defense drones. I'm not sure if point defense drones affect Phoenixes, but I think they do. I do know they affect Marauders, so which is completely pointless, but they affect Stalkers. Just being able to pick up a few workers, doing what he can, 1 EMP, taking off 3 of their shields, very, very good. I should really start to use Ghosts. I've used them like twice in my entire Terran gaming history. We do now see 5 Blue Flame Hellions heading out across the map. However, they are going to be picked up by these Phoenixes, I think. Maybe not. Maybe not. However, they both seem to move at the same speed, so I think these will manage to get away, and these 2 ghosts coming out to EMP and deal whatever damage they can. Now, I'm just going to check something. Yes, they are light, so ghosts do 20 damage versus Phoenixes. And I'm pretty sure Void Rays are light as well. Hold on. Yeah, I think they are light, so we do now see Storm coming down for Socke, which will allow him to deal quite a large amount of damage to that bio ball of the little ones. Storm is also quite useful versus Ravens, given that you can feedback and storm them, which is quite good. We do now see a 3rd expansion going down with Socke, and if the little one wants to keep up, he will have to lay down an expansion very, very shortly. We do see some back and forth being played with the Phoenixes. He is actually gaining a large amount of map control with these 5 Phoenixes, because he is able to keep the little one locked in, and he had stopped several attempts to harass with Blue Flame Hellions, and Blue Flame Hellions, when in a worker line, just deal massive damage, given it only takes 2 of them to one-shot a worker. I think we're going to see a little push out from the little one. This is quite an interesting army composition. I'm not saying it's bad, but it does have one key weakness, and that is air, and given that I think we saw a Void Ray being produced, I can't be certain, but given that there are Phoenixes and a carrier on the way, this does make things fairly interesting. He only has a couple of units that can attack air, but he can lay down defense turrets. Now, these amount of Hellions is going to deal massive damage versus Mineral Line. They might even be able to catch up and get a few other shots on. No, he's just going to try and deal with the base. Now, these 3 tanks will be sniped from around the back, I believe, not exactly sure. He might just find himself picking up the 3 tanks and then engaging, who knows. We do now see him going after second base, and that is a lot of workers, and when lined up like that, 2 shots and you're going to lose a lot of them. We do see mass feedback going down on the Raven, which is bad. We do see the 3 tanks being picked up, which does give the advantage to Socke. 1 storm, 2 storm, a 3rd storm in here, given they are very well very well encased by the Zealots. However, all that is around now is this Immortal needs to get into the fight. All that is around now is a warp-in, giving him the advantage, as well as this Archon. These Phoenixes are dealing massive damage. They were able to pick up and keep the tanks in the air, which allowed for the tide of the battle to be turned. So, all in all, not that much damage was actually done. What happened to all those workers that went up there? Did they come down and die? No, they're all... Oh wow, that's a lot of workers. So, not that much damage was done. He did lose an expansion and a bunch of workers, but to this base, almost no damage was done. He was able to salvage about half the workers from here, and most, if not all, the workers from here. So, a fairly good confrontation for Socke, and units, we'll see who's behind units lost wise. It's about the same units lost, however, I do believe Socke is in the lead at the moment, because he did mine a 3rd expansion for a while, but we'll see what happens. Production wise, I think Socke is going to lay down a 3rd expansion soon. We do see the little one has his 3rd expansion up and is producing multiple barracks, a factory and an armory, so he is probably going to be getting +1 weapons for those tanks of his, just to deal that extra little bit of damage. Now, is he going to expand here or here? I think he's going to expand there, unless he does. No, he is going to expand to the goal, and he is going to take that. However, I don't think Socke can see that, because the pylon cannot see. No, he can't, but he does now know that of the little one's intentions to take that gold. And that is a wonderful warp-in storm by Socke. He was able to do quite large damage, and this pylon is now going to die. However, the little one has just taken the gold, which will allow him to gain a massive mineral advantage and pump a lot of marines out if he so chooses. But Socke is also going for his 3rd again, and given the large amount of workers he has sitting here, he will be able to saturate it almost instantly. The little one has just called down 6 mules. 6 mules will give him a massive income advantage on the gold. You can see 800 to 3k, well, 2.5, 200, it's kind of going up a bit. But mules for the win. I don't actually know the amount mules mine at a gold, but they mine 30 minerals per trip on a normal thing, so maybe they mine 50 or something. We do see 2 carriers. Oh, these 2 carriers could deal quite massive damage, given that there's only 3 marines and 2 ghosts in this army. So these 2 carriers could be quite a big problem. However, he did put down tech labs on his barracks, so that is going to make it more difficult. He did also put a tech lab on this starport, so his anti-air production is not going to be amazing, given that all anti-air units for Terran, well, from a barracks and starport anyway, require a reactor, unless you're dealing with battlecruisers. But he hasn't put down the fusion core yet, as I'm aware. So those two carriers are going to have to be dealt with by the little one. We do see him producing 3 Marines and a Viking. So if he pumps out a number of Vikings and Marines, he will be able to deal with it. We do see a little push coming in here for the little one. Not able to do too much damage. A nuke is falling down here, which did take out a few workers, a pylon or two, but not exactly massive damage. Would have done a lot more if, say, it had been here. But again, every little bit counts, and we do see a reasonably small force heading out across the map. Not exactly sure why. Misclick, I would assume. So 2 carriers are the most powerful force on the map at the moment. However, this amount of Marines plus Viking, I think, plus Vikings and Ghosts, I think will be able to deal with these 3 carriers quick. However, a couple of High Templars and we can deal with those Marines, and I'm sure 3 carriers can deal with 2 Vikings. So again, I think Socke does have the advantage. He has suffered more heavy losses worker-wise than the little one, but his army is in the advantage. I don't know what the right word is there. English is not my strong point. People, we do now see him. He does have map control, which is always a good thing to have. He has made sure that little one only has 2 bases, and we are coming to the close in this replay, so we may see someone GG very, very shortly. Whether it be Socke or the little one, I cannot guess. I think it will be the little one, given that most of Socke's army is in the air, and this is a very, very large force of Marines, Ghosts and Vikings, so that advantage will be irked to the little one, I think. And we do now see quite a large amount of, well, 5 Zealots being warped in. This force is moving out across the map, not doing anything particularly special yet. We do see it being reinforced by some Marauders, Marines, Tanks and Hellions. He is now pushing down, going to see what he can do about this 3rd expansion yet again. However, there are some photon cannons around there, so that's going to make his life very, very difficult. However, this force, I believe, is much, much bigger than Socke's, so I think the little one is going to come out with the advantage in this confrontation. He is now taking the high ground and will be able to just bombard down that base. No, the Phoenixes are picking up. We do see a storm coming down by Socke. Very good storm, taking out almost half the Marines. These carriers are just able to shell away at the forces, and I believe the little one has lost his confrontation. He is losing Marines and Vikings quickly, and once they are all gone, then these carriers can just shell away at the remaining forces. So I do think the little one did lose out. Yeah, there's the GG, and the little one has left. So a very close confrontation coming down to this little fight where these 4 carriers were able to irk out an advantage, take out the anti-air, and finish off the rest of the army. That's quite an impressive explosion, actually. Never seen a freeze on a tank explosion, but there you go. This is KEnODvT, signing off.